Puss in the Boots the movie. Puss in the Boots and the Last Witch Baby. Puss in the Boots in the movie. Come back for NMI and the crew, cause I can't make this rhyme anymore. And trying to put Livin' La Vida Loca into that.
Okay.
Yes, welcome back, people, to NMI. When you need Fergus just got a huge grin on his face right now. Like,
I did not get that was La Vida Loca.
But when you listen back now, to you, like, yeah. Oh, whatever. I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care. I tried to make you come up with one of these one day.
I know, I'm terrible.
Exactly. You know, it's a lot more difficult than you realise. It's a hard knock life for me. It's really not, to be honest, but yeah. So, yeah, welcome back, people, to NMI When You Need More Info, a podcast on the worlds of movies, video games, and TV shows. And also, today, a lovely movie review for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Yes, we're here to talk everything Puss in Boots.
I get it right now. Puss in Boots.
Oh, just the voice acting is first rate.
Oh, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, Antonio Banderas has even said, like, his voice is ruined after doing this character.
He is Puss in Boots now.
I mean, he's Zorro. He is Zorro at
also
the end of the day.
Zorro. Well, to be fair, Puss in Boots basically is Zorro as well.
He does the P like Zorro.
I know.
It's ridiculous. Like, right. But, obviously, people, you know, if you were here for our last episode, we did an episode on villains who deserve their own franchise. Or, like, you know, expanded franchise. And we actually got into what character, Fergus?
Jack Horner, who's one of the villains, not big enough as a character in the movie.
You say not big enough as one of the characters in the movie. It's like, big joke, I'm not, it's like...
Little Jack Horner, no.
I mean, no, to be fair,
Little Jack Horner.
They do make that comment in him.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously, you know, in the last episode, we got into, like, a different interpretation, like, what we had looked at villain characters and how... They could be, you know, give them a redemption arc or possibly, you know, fall into madness and see what characters they are. Me and Fergus actually kind of went in the opposite way in that regard.
Yeah, I was kind of exploring the inner depths of the villains, and Nate went into redemption.
Redemption, you know, Fergus is just doing that whole, like, fist pump thing.
Acting.
Like, yeah, the hand movement people do. But yes, people, so... Today we're going to be doing a review for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So obviously, in the UK, we got this a lot later than the US, which I still think is bullshit.
It took me a while to get around to seeing the movie, so I didn't notice. But I would have also been annoyed that it wasn't universally released geographically.
Well, the fact that this came out in the United States in December.
Oh, wow, that's quite a big difference.
And it came out in the UK in February, I want to say?
Yeah.
So that's quite frustrating.
That is...
Why?
Yeah, it doesn't... I don't know. I don't know if there was... Like, it was competing with something, but then again, it would have been competing with something internationally if it was trying to get out of the way of something. Or maybe there's a different edit for the UK and the US.
That's what I'm also saying.
I don't know.
This was also released on digital on January 6th, 2023, only 16 days after its theatrical release in America.
Yeah.
And yet, we're going to get into this, people. Basically, you either have to pay £20 in the UK to watch this movie on Amazon or somewhere like that, or, as Fergus did...
At the cinema.
Yeah, it's a paying for all the lovely schnacks as well.
Yeah, it wasn't the cheapest way to see it, but...
You had a fun time.
It was good. It's an enjoyable movie, and...
Unless that doesn't reflect into your review as much as I hope is interpreting.
Yes, it gives it points.
Okay, so watching the film in the cinema gives this film points unto itself.
But also might lose it points because I noticed things that we'll get into further discussion there.
Okay, people. So as you know, with NMI, when you need more info, what we like to do is we like to give you a nice, lovely review section and then a spoiler-closed section at the end, which we will actually warn you about when we go into it. So the plan is now, so we're going to get into the review section, give our initial interpretations of the movie, and how we actually felt about it. Obviously, we both saw this and quite enjoyed it. Well, I quite enjoyed it myself. We'll get Fergus' interpretation in a second. Watching this at the cinema was very interesting. It was very good to say the least, but I think I'm going to hand over to Fergus first because I've been in our Discord group. Fergus gave us a little peek into his opinion for the movie, and this was like at the weekend now, we've been thinking where Fergus is going with this movie. So I think initial impressions of the movie, I'm going to hand over to you now.
It was okay. I was hoping for better. So if you'd listen to our previous episode, there was a certain villain who's getting certain hype on the internet, and those edits were better than how the villain actually came across in the actual movie. I think a lot of the characters weren't given enough time to breathe. 3 major villains or groups of villains going after the hero in what is a relatively short movie, and to give Puss and his love interest, again, enough time to breathe. I don't think there was enough time for the characters to properly breathe in terms of story development. There was a lot of, haha, now this is a thing, haha, now this is a thing, and nothing really ever had a lot of impact. Like, I think it could have done if it had given, I don't know, removed one of the villains, or concentrated more on one of the villains, or one of the main story arcs. Animation-wise, stylistically good, interesting. I'm concerned that the frame rate, this seems a weird thing to be talking about for a film, but the frame rates of certain larger background action sequences seemed weirdly low. Like, you could see them, like, jolt move. So I don't know if it was strange. Like, you normally go into a CG movie, kind of expecting well animated, smooth animated, but it kind of felt like they were trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do, if it was deliberate or, I don't know, it just drew my attention to something that was very strange. And kind of it was very noticeable watching in the cinema, because, everything's larger than life. Yeah, we're looking at the battle between Puss and the giant. I think some of the giant in the background sequences are quite noticeable, and just the lack of frames there.
I think it's a stylistic choice they're trying to take, because obviously Into the Spider-Verse is sort of like taking this whole approach now of like animation style change. Because have you seen the new TMNT trailer yet?
Yes, it's more this. Yeah,
I do like the comedic aspect of, like, as we're watching the scene now, like getting launched into the air via strings on a double bass and everything.
Yeah. You see what I mean with the movement of the giant? He looks a bit.
I get it. No, I get it. I get it entirely. Do you see what I mean on an audio podcast, people? But obviously, for myself, I don't.
We're watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Who's your favourite fearless hero? Extended preview, Universal's All Access trailer.
So yeah, if you want to just sync up now, people, as he, I'm not gonna lie, not my microphone there. The bit where he drinks the espresso and he goes into like wild cat mode was quite funny.
Yeah.
Also, as watching the trailer, there's a very Attack on Titan moment, which I thought is brilliant for the movie. Like how it goes into that. We're literally looking at seeing the Puss in Boots trying to avoid a bell now, and this is literally Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I think it's hard to avoid Attack on Titan when you do anything involving giants now.
That is quite funny, to be honest, how like it's gone that way. But no, when it comes to this film myself, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I do understand where you're coming from in regards to like certain plot narratives could have been maybe like extended or maybe just removed entirely. I think when it comes to the length of the movie, I don't think you want to extend this movie further, because it is like an hour and 42 minutes runtime. Now, for a children's movie, which this is, you don't really want to make an animated movie over 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think Into the Spider-Verse is probably like at least an hour and 45, so you could maybe almost 2 hours. That's okay.
Yeah.
But with Puss in Boots, because obviously it's been a while since the previous movie, to be honest. So
it has, yes. I don't even remember watching the previous one in the cinema.
2011.
Gosh.
I don't actually remember this as well. And the funny thing is, though, people, you don't actually, like, going into this film, let's say, in the initial review section, You don't have to have seen the previous movie.
No, I didn't remember the previous movie at all going into this.
Even though they make references to it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like that approach where, like, you know, in those films where you hear the references, but you if you know them, you know them. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Which I think works really well, to be honest. But yeah, going off this, I love the characters in this movie. Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. He is just captivating, as you know. So sorry. Captivating as hell.
Yes.
And you
very
know,
much makes it. Yeah.
Salma Hayek is great in the movie as Kitty Softpaws. Harvey Gillen, I think that's how you pronounce his name, from What We Do in the Shadows and everything, as Perito.
Right.
He's really good in the movie as like the friendly naive therapy dog, which was very charming.
Yeah, it's him that kind of pushes the story along. Otherwise, everyone would just be standing around arguing about nonsensical stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So, going into the villains of the movie, how did you feel about? Obviously, we discussed this in the reviews. Sorry, in the villains episode. How did you feel about John Mulaney as Big Jack Horner?
Very good. Needed a lot more breathing room to kind of solidify himself as the villain. Like, there was a bit of backstory, and oh no, suddenly he's got lots of magical items, and oh, now he's just going to get the ultimate magical item because magic's important to him, I guess. Like, I think a bit more explanation about why he feels magical items are the answer would have contextualized things a bit more. Frankly, he deserves his own series, I think, in his collection of magical items, but refer to previous episode for more on that. Voice acting good, character good, just not enough space to breathe, really.
No, I totally agree. Like, I think also having, like, for such a big, imposing character, having John Mulaney's voice was a good acting, like a good voice acting, like direction in my opinion. Like, usually with these type of characters, like, they usually have like a more gruff type voice and everything, but having like a really nasally voice up here,
kind of adds to the whole traumatic, geeky childhood grown up into villain sort of story. I think otherwise he's not a brute. He's, you know, everyone else and magical items do his dirty work, not him. I
mean, I love the fact here, like, his henchmen, I didn't even know, I don't know if they say in the movie, I can't remember, they're called the Baker's Dozen.
Yeah, it's great. That's great.
Was that actually referenced in the movie?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Very briefly, someone the Baker's Dozen, and there's a brief, again, just it's all too brief with
it's funny with those characters. There's some things that happen to those characters is quite funny, to be honest. We'll get into that in the spoiler section. It has to be said in the spoiler section. But obviously, Salma Hayek as Kitty Softpaws, as you mentioned. Going on to, like, we'll finish off with the big bad at the end. Florence Pugh as Goldilocks, Olivia Colman as Mama Bear, Ray Winston as Papa Bear, and Samson Kayo as Baby Bear. So Samson Kayo I don't really know that much of, but he's also been in Our Flags Mean Death, so
okay.
Like, so he's so that's sort of crew. But how did you feel about the Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
You were just too much for the movie, really. I don't know why they were included.
A lot of people have critiqued Florence Pugh's voice acting in this movie, like her accent.
Trying to be wannabe London gangstery sort of thing, because it's Ray Winston as the Papa Bear, so it's again leaning into, like, you know, proper East London gruff gangster.
But a lot of people said she had a bad British accent, and I'm like,
it wasn't great,
but she's British.
You can still mess up a British accent. I mean, it wasn't American; it was just not good.
No, I get that. Yeah, you are definitely right. I liked her in the movie. I liked her narrative pathway. I think it was a very... You saw the narrative coming, I would say, for her character.
Yeah, again, just didn't have enough development. She just sort of switched and was like, oh, my wish no longer matters. That's it. And there was just no development between anyone.
I did enjoy Olivia Colman and Ray Winston as their Mother Bear and Papa Bear, though. I thought they were funny, for what they had, basically, in the movie.
Yeah, again, I kind of feel like they're there for poster bait fodder.
Well, I think they had, like, a good paternal like relationship with Goldilocks in the movie. I think it came across well for we're adults watching this movie.
Yeah,
for a kid
true.
movie, like we have to like interpret it that way.
It was very cookie cutter, paint by numbers sort of thingy.
Yes, I will say with those characters, like it was served perfectly well, but it did have a simple aspect to it. Like the interpretation of how basically like this would play out for like his family, you could probably guess as it goes through the movie, but we will continue on. So the main person I want to talk about now at the end is Wagner Moreau. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, as the Wolf.
Yeah. As a character, very good. Voice acted very well. Again, not given enough time to, really teach Puss the lessons that he was there to do. He just sort of appeared and like, I'm scary, and Puss runs away, and that was kind of the be-all and end-all of it, really. I
mean, true, but I think the character is quite intimidating throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like, when he appears,
it's pretty scary, yeah.
Yeah, for a kid, like, he can be pretty scary, to be honest. And we'll get into more of his character in this. I think his character's more probably the best discussed in the spoiler section, to be honest. But I did not know the guy voicing him was who played Pablo Escobar in the Narcos TV show.
Oh, I've not seen it.
I've heard Narcos is brilliant, and also I love the fact that Pedro Pascal is also in that, so more love for the daddy of the internet right now. So, obviously, with this movie, I think the pacing, like Fergus has basically said that the pacing didn't work that well for you.
No, not really. It needed a bit more breathing room.
See, for me, I actually think it flowed quite well. I think the initial introduction of Puss in the movie, like, what his current standing in the world, and like how he's just like roaming the world and everything, and then to his downfall essentially of the character, and then his redemption arc, I think works quite. I think for him specifically, it works out quite well.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Going from living celebrity life to having to be a normie, not so normie.
We'll probably get into this in the spoiler section specific, but there's a certain scene in the movie that plays out, and a lot of people have praised the action that occurs. You probably know what I'm going on about, and I'm trying to mime now. Basically,
I'm not getting it.
So basically, I'm going to type it on the screen, people. So we will talk about it in the spoiler section. But
yeah, I don't really know enough about it to comment.
I have had one of those, and it is very similar. Yeah, and I can say we'll do it to talk about in the spoiler section. It was very done very well, and a lot of people critique that specifically well. Now, going off the animation for myself, I actually really enjoyed the animation for this movie. I do agree with you on like when it comes to the fighting scenes, how it does switch frame rate, and the animation style does become more cartoon-esque.
Yeah,
which I think's there on purpose because obviously, cats are meant to be like more agile and like very quick and like very fast-paced and everything. Now, if they went the opposite way and made it high frame rate, possibly that could have been interesting, like an interpretation of that. But
it's stuck to a normal film standard frame rate,
I don't know. I think it worked quite well for the giant scene, though. The problem is that I think that's the best. That's the best. Well, actually, until Philo to me, I did enjoy. I think that's a very good representation of the fighting, the animation style of this movie, because also in daylight as well, it works very well. Also. So this movie actually did very well at the box office, to be honest, because it was made for 90 million.
Right.
And it's made 458 million.
Well, that did well, didn't it?
So, obviously, this is a sequel to the 2011 movie. And I did not know this, but Guillermo del Toro was a producer on the... was an executive producer. Shared plans to... So this is from Wikipedia, people. Plans for a sequel to Puss in Boots began in 2012 when executive producer Guillermo del Toro shared plans to take the character on an adventure to an exotic locale. Obviously, this went in development hell for ages, and obviously it does reference it into the Spider-Verse, but also it took drew inspiration from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, which I can definitely see for a couple of these characters in the movie.
Yeah,
but I can say from the get-go, you do not see any of the other like Shrek characters in this movie really at all. It's all about Puss in Boots, really.
It's all about Puss in Boots, apart from a brief flashback where you see Shrek and Donkey.
Do you?
Yep. Very, very brief.
Yes, you do.
Like
and also
seconds.
You do see Gingerbread Man as well, very briefly as well. I can say that I definitely think this deserves the animation Obviously, this is at the Academy Awards for the animation.
Mm.
Who is it going up against though this year? Is the question, because that could be very interesting to see who wins. So it's going up against. Oh, okay, and this is going to be interesting. It's going up against Turning Red, which is the Disney movie about the girl who turns into the red panda bear. The Sea Beast.
Rubbish.
You didn't like it?
No.
Okay, interesting. Puss in Boots. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It's about a little shell in the real world. Yeah, and then Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Guaranteed to win 100% of the Oscars.
Yeah, del Toro's going to win. Del Toro's going to win Pinocchio. And I believe he wants to do more in this world now, actually. Okay. But going back to Puss in Boots, though, I think Puss in Boots, for its animation style, could be in for a draw. I think it could if Del Toro's Pinocchio wasn't there. It would probably be.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not something special.
No, I do. Well, I don't think it's nothing special now, because we've had movies now like Into the Spider-Verse come out now, which show that style, and also we're just looking at like what won at the BAFTAs, and Pinocchio did win the BAFTA, so that's going to be interesting, because usually at the BAFTAs, the opposite, another film usually wins.
They do try and pick something different, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll just have a look at the other two quickly. So, but when it comes to this, though, do you think it has any chance of winning Pinocchio, though, or is the fact that you just went 100% chance of not winning at all?
I'd be very surprised if it does win against Pinocchio, despite having Pinocchio in it.
That is very, very true.
Both of them have Pinocchio in.
I totally forgot that he is actually in the movie. Oh my god, yeah. Pinocchio has basically cleaned up every award section. Basically, it's got a Critics' Choice Award.
You've got to bear in mind that Puss in Boots is effectively a Shrek franchise movie as well, which gives
I should go against it, though. To be honest,
Shrek splits opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and I will say though, very, very brief thing. If Avatar does not win the best visual effects for a movie at the Oscars, that would be absolutely... Also, another tangent, James Cameron needs to stop stealing Avatar The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that's...
Did you read the news for that?
If there's another news story, I've not seen it.
He might be in... I don't know if this is fully confirmed. He might be introducing a wind tribe.
I smell a lawsuit.
I don't know how that plays out, to be honest.
No, someone has got to be suing someone there.
But does that mean the Na'vi that we first saw in the movie are the Earth Tribe? I guess so, because they're I guess they would be.
Are they all going to get arrows on their head and start riding buffaloes?
I mean, have you seen the second movie yet?
No.
The Avatar is technically in that movie already.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's. Oh, it's coming to Disney Plus on demand, at least, on February 28th.
Okay.
Or no, March 28th.
Yes.
So in a few weeks' time, I believe. So I'm just going to... I just want to get my things correct here. So VOD for Avatar 2 is... Release date revealed. It is on March 28th.
Cool.
So obviously, I'm wondering how long it would take to come to streaming, though. Because it doesn't include a Disney Plus or Blu-ray release yet. It's only... VOD, so that means it's probably going to cost £20 to watch this.
Oh, no. Not my small TV, anyway.
Maybe we'll have to have a big film night, see someone's got a 4K projector.
I don't have the burning desire to go out my way and watch Avatar, really.
It was actually, I actually really enjoyed it, to be honest. But, so, right.
Back to Puss
in Boots. Right, so... I actually really enjoyed how basically this movie... I think the conclusion of this movie worked out quite well. It was very... You could see where it was going. I will say the backstory for Perito was very depressing.
Yes. The fact he's not conscious of it. Yeah. He should have been given a wish.
That is true. Maybe don't say too much there.
Who got the wish?
Actually, no, that is very, very true. That is very, very true. But no, so obviously, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I really enjoy this movie. For myself, like I really enjoyed the animation style. I really enjoyed the narrative. I can say, I'm trying to take the perspective of basically, You know, this isn't an adult animation movie. This is a movie for younger people to be enjoyed by everyone.
Yeah, I again would say that the good animated movies aimed at young people have enough material for the adults.
Yes, no, I do agree. That's Disney's entire catalogue.
Yeah, I don't think they take quite enough. Really.
Okay, then, right.
Well, it's not much in it, but yeah.
So let's so obviously we've pretty much done I think we've pretty much done the entire like characters, narrative, like plot, driving, everything, animation.
So.
We've pretty much covered everything, to be honest, in the review. So that's actually quite good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So okay, with that in mind though, okay, drum roll, people. Fergus, what rating do you give Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
It's quite hard. It's quite enjoyable, but it has a lot of issues, and I kind of wanted it to be better. So we're high five.
High five.
Yeah, sadly.
You're not gonna go for the classic Fergus 6.
It could be a 6.
Can we tempt him, people?
It's again all right. Should we do 6 then?
Good old roundup. I'm making you a
6.
T-shirt. You just holding
It's
it like
6.
a cartoon 6, like, and then you just got Ant-Man in the background trying to look nice with it. It's fucking 4.
It was terrible. Everyone agrees it was terrible.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you in the slightest. But that's just me because I'm trying to be positive in that regard. Myself, so I'm kind of stuck, to be honest, because I really did enjoy the animation and the narrative for what it was. And I'm trying to look back on, like, I gave the Batman a 9, and I know you definitely didn't. I gave Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 7. So I think I'm gonna have to give this an 8.
Okay.
Because I did actually enjoy this more than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because I think, for one thing, I think the pace was quicker.
Yes.
Interesting, it was quicker, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania had a similar pace, but this was done better.
Yeah, there was not quite more. Yeah. No, I agree. Like, there was more landing pads for things that are happening that you can kind of contextualize with Puss in Boots than with Ant-Man.
Yes, no, I definitely agree with that. So, right, so that's an 8 for me and a 6 for Fergus. So this
Solid
does round
7.
out to solid 7.
Yeah.
I think
sounds right. Yeah.
Still a good score.
Yeah.
7 is still a good score.
Yeah.
And once this is properly on, I think once this is on properly streaming services, this could get actually a lot of numbers.
Yes, I think anything Shrek these days does well.
Anything Shrek. It's been quite a while since we had a last Shrek movie.
You know, there's London South Bank. There's a Shrekland. Like, it's taken over the arcade, so people will visit Shrekland as a tourist attraction over going to play arcade games.
So Shrek is literally life now.
For some people, yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know it's a meme and a joke on the internet, but some people really do live and die by it.
I mean, each to their own at the end of the day. Each to their own at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But on that note, I think it's time that we get into the spoiler section for this podcast. So, obviously, you have now got 5 seconds to know if you go watch the film, then come back and listen to our little spoiler section. But you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, Fergus. Wolf.
Yeah.
Did you like the reveal of the character?
I think I kind of already knew he was Death.
I didn't at first. I just thought he was like a really creepy character, like, because obviously the big bad wolf with Goldilocks and everything, and like, I expected to see Red Riding Hood at one point.
Yeah.
It would have been very creepy though if he was wearing a red hood.
I thought it would have thrown everything way off.
But that'd be very
But it wasn't anything to do with Red Riding Hood, who is a canonical character in the Shrekverse.
True. Oh yeah, that is true.
And I think there is a Grandma Wolf in Shrek as well. So if you're keeping to Shrek lore, it doesn't work.
Oh yeah. I love the idea of basically though, like he's been there every time Puss has died. Because he's deaf. He is deaf, people.
Yes, and Puss has not noticed him until now, because he's now on his last life.
And I love how, like, you know, towards the end of the movie, when they're in the final battle, Wolf goes, "I've come for a cocky, arrogant character."
Yeah, I find this a bit strange. Like, why does death... Okay, so you got to... In the world, you've got to assume that Death is playing by the same rules that he plays by everyone else, generally speaking, is to wait until they're dead. Why is he decided to break his one and only true rule to terrorise someone who's being a bit of a celebrity ass?
I think that's exactly that.
It's
Sort of like the karma basis of like so there are a couple of right. I will say though, each of Puss's deaths, there are a couple of which are fucking. The shellfish death is hilarious.
He just doesn't care, I think, is what that comes.
And that's
to.
why I think it is. I think he's had enough of this character wasting his lives. Like he's like, I just know what, fuck it.
Yeah,
man.
that's his business. There's no need for him to intervene. He's just going to waste the next one, and he'll just see him on the other side.
But I think it's the arrogancy of the character there. I think it's the arrogancy that pisses him off.
But then that shouldn't really, like, you've got to, death is ever present in literally every person in the entire Shrekverse. So there are much worse characters, like Lord Farquaad being an absolute arse. Where's death there?
He does mention death.
He does mention
some of you will die, but that's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Yeah, but it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel it works particularly well.
I do love the aspect of the movie where Puss is fucking terrified of him.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Like, you know, it's that whistle. That whistle is...
Could have been very effective. Wasn't that massively effective because it wasn't played on more as kind of like the big threat, because you've got all the other villains who are kind of...
Yeah, I do think they... Like, I think the problem is, like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I think... If you had a twist in the ending for them, because obviously the thing for Goldilocks in this movie is basically she is trying to get her wish for her family that she never had because she's an orphan. That's the plot twist in this movie, which I actually didn't. Yeah, I never thought about that before. Like she probably would have maybe been an orphan in the original. She wasn't just a girl that ran off, basically.
I'm pretty sure she gets eaten in the original fairy tale.
Oh, that was a grim. It was a grim, Brothers Grimm tale.
I think so. I think most of them
with honey, like
probably.
Oh Jesus Christ! The Grimm books. I've read into interpretations of Jesus Christ. Like
they're pretty gory.
The Cinderella one is like fucked up for the stepsisters.
I probably have read it. I don't remember it.
I believe they actually break their feet trying to get into their shoe, or they cut their feet or something.
At this point, that sort of thing seems relatively normal.
I mean, honestly, I'd love to see a Brothers Grimm animation adaptations. I've seen the original versions of these.
The original
it would probably
hardcore.
Though to be fair,
yeah,
you could probably see some parent accidentally purchasing the wrong version one day and putting this interpretation on and fucking up a lot of.
Well, I mean, you've got to bear in mind that these tales have become popular through parents telling their children.
True, but also you don't really want to see, let's say, Goldilocks getting mauled by bears when she goes into a house when you're a little kid.
Oh, you've got to bear in mind that they're all kind of moral tales, like avoid the woods, otherwise you'll get mauled by a bear.
Sorry, I just realised a bear in mind. It's just. Maybe you giggle a little bit, to be honest. Fergus like, for fuck's sake, no. Stick to the thing. No, so, I loved the final fight between these two characters. I thought it was visually great. Like, I think it could have gone a bit longer. Yeah,
I was going to say, it didn't last enough. Wasn't really, again, lacking payoff.
I did like how he's like, pick up your sword. Like, he's like, okay, let's fucking do this. Like, let's...
So he wants him to become the hero now? Or... Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he does tell him he'll be back.
Yeah, because he's on his last life and we're in the spoiler section. Doesn't wish for any more lives.
Yeah, because he gives it to Jack. Well, Jack Horner steals it and then
Jeremy Cricket.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Cricket. Like, that's quite hilarious. Like,
yeah.
Trying to, like, convince Jack Horner to be a good person. Jack Horner is just like, no, I'm a fucking dick. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, no, that was one of the best scenes. Like, confronting Jack Horner with Jeremy Cricket is genius.
Well, that is showing the Baker's dozens who are just like getting killed off scene as well.
Right.
Like,
yeah, he just does not care about people at all. Wow.
I mean, the Midas touch I thought was quite funny at the beginning. Like,
yeah, like he's. Yeah.
I promise you your weight in gold.
Just go spend your friend.
I mean, that's kind of fucked up though, to be honest. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So going back to linking this to the original Puss in Boots movie though, because obviously it does say about the whole Kitty Softpaws, who's played by Salma Hayek, like they was going to get married and then they didn't. But she does say in the movie that she didn't turn up either.
Yeah, because wasn't because of Puss's super arrogant I'm a celebrity thing.
Do you think she could? So I interpret this a bit differently though, because she says this after she notices the whole like terrified aspect of him, like
to put his mind at ease a bit.
Exactly.
Maybe. I
think we can get into that very briefly though, like how Puss in Boots has a panic attack in this movie.
Yeah.
And he properly like goes off on. Granted, panic attacks usually last much longer, but this is an animated movie, so you can't do that. But I've been in that situation where the world blurs, the sound gets muffled and everything. You sweating, terrified, breathing heavily, and it takes one thing to calm you down. It could take one thing to calm you down, and I loved how Perito was. That.
Yeah. So Perito does kind of bind the whole story together, and is kind of the comforting factor for Puss to allow Puss to be.
I mean, especially since, as we could talk about in the spoiler section, Perito's child, like, that was fucked up.
Yes.
He's living in the sock that he was thrown into the water.
Yes. And he's interpreted it as a game of hide and seek.
They literally said in a kids' film they tried to drown a dog.
Yeah, but it's like 101 Dalmatians is basically that.
True. Trying to turn dogs into fur coats, yeah. That is very, very true.
You know.
We don't very hear often about trying to drown a dog, though. Like,
Aristocats, I'm pretty sure they get attempted to be drowned at one point.
Pussy. Oh, it's been many years since I watched that.
Yeah, you could have, they wouldn't have been able to lean too much more into his backstory.
I do have a question, though. So I was thinking about the character Mama Luna, who's the elderly cat lady in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
What is going on in this world? I have to ask this question now.
Yeah. How
come Puss and Kitty Softpaws can talk?
Yes.
But the other cats don't?
Magic.
That's one. It's like,
it is a bit strange.
It's kind of just it's weird. It's funny how he just gives up in the end. Like he's just like,
well, it's a good hiding spot, and I think everyone does genuinely believe that he is dead because the persona of him is dead, and that's all he was.
Yeah, no, totally agree with that.
So he's just a cat with a beard.
How did we? So obviously, how did you feel about the map sequence? Like the map interpreting different worlds.
Interesting. I would have liked to have seen more people use the map. Like more of the villains, each of the bears, Goldilocks, Jack Horner.
That's a lot of animation, though.
There's a lot of animation. Yeah. Again, it needs to be just bigger.
I mean, I love the fact that Perito had like the nice innocent world, but even in that world, if you didn't act in a certain way,
there had to be challenges, and people had to have their attitudes changed, and that's the whole point of fairy tale land.
Yeah, really. And I loved I loved the song, Shrek. I was about to say Shrek. Puss in Boots has the song, who's your favorite fearless hero. I actually did quite like that song in the movie, and then it comes back into play later, with obviously he's the reflections of himself as his past selves and everything, how he doesn't want to be there anymore, and then Death appears to talk about to reintroduce himself properly. But I just think, like, where could this franchise go? Because obviously at the end of this movie, he goes back to Faraway Land.
He does, yes. So I'm assuming I was going to say hooks up back with Shrek, but are they actually going to make any more Shrek movies?
I mean, there is rumblings that there could be, but also, how do you go with the animation style going forward? Because
I think it goes back to standard Shrek.
You can't do that, I don't think. I think if you're going to do it, just stick to this art style. I think one of the main praises of the movie was the art style, and also this sort of art style is probably cheaper to do than full 3D animation.
Yeah, but it's a Shrek movie. They've made billions. They can afford it.
Yeah, but when we got to Shrek 4,
it keeps going. As I say, there is literally half of London South Bank is Shrekland.
True.
There's no stopping Shrek.
I mean, to be fair, Shrek did get a star in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I generally think that, like, how going forwards that the animation style should be different. And I'm just wondering how you take Puss in Boots back into that, because I think Puss in Boots has become such a character into his own right. Do you have, like, the Shrek verse of movies now? Do you have, like, the Puss in Boots movie continuing and they go back into Shrek and everything, or just merge them again?
No, it's all has to be part of a self-contained canon.
So does it just forget about Puss in Boots as the main character now, and then just go back to Shrek?
I assume so.
Because I think unless you do about his kids in the next film.
Oh, maybe. No, as far as I'm aware, none of them have been specifically lined up to be Shrek, the next Shrek. And Shrek's fairly unique in terms of his characterization.
I just thought of a really dark way of doing this.
What?
It's never going to be done. How Shrek and Fiona killed off with the other kids, except one, and Puss in Boots is the protector of this last Shrek character, trying to get him across the land.
I mean, yeah.
That's never going to fucking happen.
No, it'll be Arya Stark and the Hound sort of deal.
Except, like, the Hound is, like, very
Puss.
tiny and...
Yeah, it could work.
I mean, that's one way to go about it, to be honest. Then, obviously, you've got stuff like Donkey's kids as well.
Yes.
Which I still don't know how the fuck that happened.
Magic.
Yes, that's what we tell children. Magic. Like,
it's how you get over plot holes in these worlds.
But I'd love to see where this this goes, because obviously Perito's there now, and you've got this massive like new character in this. Do you sideline that character? Like,
I don't see Perito getting his own franchise.
No, but I think he ain't gonna get his
or
own
even a bit character in him. He might turn up as a reference.
I don't know. I think that cat. I guess his narrative's played out.
I think so. I'd be quite hard to fit him in as a main line, given that, again, Puss is a side character from the main trunk of the franchise, really.
But if you think about the Shrek universe now, the characters you really talk about most are Shrek and Puss in Boots. Even Donkey. Well, I don't know. Donkey's talked less about than Puss in Boots, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's been... I know there have been conversations about why Donkey doesn't have his own movie.
I think there's reasons why for that.
Yeah, it'd be quite an annoying.
Unless you make like a Beverly Hills style Donkey movie, like just Eddie Murphy playing like a parody version of like his character of Axel Foley in real life as Donkey. Because they do have a Hollywood in, the faraway land and everything. And
yeah, could do. Day in the Life of Donkey.
Or, Puss and Donkey did have that musical number for Living La Vida Loca. So,
Puss and Donkey musical tour.
Yeah.
I see, it's kind of hard to fit a good narrative around.
Exactly. Like, that's why Shrek fizzled, I think, and that's why they went on to Puss in Boots. So unless you take another character. But what characters from the Shrek land could you possibly do?
Well, you've got everyone from every fairy tale ever. Theoretically.
True.
So you could... you've not really set up... I don't know. I really don't know.
Because also, actually, thinking about this, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear are in the Shrekverse as well, but not as those characters, because obviously there's that... Did you see that video about, like, how Mama Bear was... I think it was Mama Bear was killed in Shrek 1.
No, I missed that.
There's a sequence in where like Baby Bear's being comforted, or it's like locked up being comforted or something.
Oh.
And then you look in Farquaad's house, and there's a bear rug.
Oh, so this is Step Mama Bear.
Step Mama Bear, like Jesus Christ.
I guess it must be.
I mean, unless it's a different, there's multiple Baby Mama Bear, like because Goldilocks wasn't in.
No.
So I guess
they're
the fake ones.
No, it'd just be a stepmama.
Stepmama Bear. Jesus
Only
Christ.
explanation.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking hilarious. Stepmama Bear. Oh my god. But no, I'm just wondering where the franchise could go next. To be honest, I don't know.
More Shrek.
I think it's more Puss in Boots.
Oh yeah, but
this has made like 5 times its budget back. So
it took 12 years for them to release it.
True, but I think like finding their niche now works out better. And mind you, I guess if they already knew they were going back to the Shrek land at the end of that movie, they have some idea of where they're going.
Yeah. Maybe it's Jack Horner.
Jack...
Honestly, he works as quite a good character to kind of visit all the niche corners of the Shrekverse.
Go listen to our villains who deserve the franchise episode.
Yeah.
People.
I think that might actually be the best option.
Well, I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up there. So obviously, NMI, Fergus gave this a 6, I give it an 8. We gave it a 7 in general. So that's a 7 out of 10 for NMI stamp of approval as a good movie. We had a good discussion section for this movie as well. Good 20 minutes, had longer than I expected for the spoiler section. On that note, if you got any questions, queries, or compliments, did you like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? Did you not? Did you absolutely love this movie, or did you hate this movie more? Did you give it a 2 out of 10 or something? Please explain why in an email to us at nmipodcast@outlook.com. That's nmipodcast@outlook.com. Obviously find our socials on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter and Instagram at NMIcast. Bit of a brain fart there. Obviously, if you got any questions, queries, compliments, or maybe topic discussions that you want to have for us, is there any movies like animation style movies coming up that you're really looking forward to? The new TMNT Mutant Mayhem movie, how did you find that? Or also the Across the Spider-Verse movie that's coming out in June. All these movies coming out because TMNT comes out in August, so all these lovely animation movies coming out this year with new animation styles, which is going to be really looking forward to go to. But yeah, that's nmipodcast@outlook.com, nmipodcast@outlook.com, at nmicast. I've been your host, Nate. I want to thank Fergus again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me once again.
Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Keep safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.